I was never the type to believe objects could carry curses. People, yes. Trauma clings to the body like humidity. Places too. Old houses, abandoned motels, rooms where something happened long enough ago that no one talks about it anymore. But objects? No. An object was just an object. A radio was just a radio. At least, that's what I believed the night I brought home the thing that ruined my life. It started on a Sunday. I'd gone to the estate sale out of boredom, not curiosity. A massive Victorian house on Sycamore Street. One of those places built in the late 1800s that looked like it had too many windows and not enough soul. The owner had died alone, or so the whispering neighbors said. Apparently, she'd lived reclusively, shutting her drapes every day before dusk and never answering her door after dark. Her death was described with one phrase no one elaborated on: under strange circumstances. The kind of phrase neighbors love because it lets their imaginations do the work. The sale was a mess of old furniture, ceramic owls, oil paintings of people long dead, and shelves of junk that meant something to someone once. I wasn't planning to buy anything, just kill time. But then I saw it. On a dusty table in the back parlor, tucked between two cracked picture frames, sat an old portable radio. A 1970s model, boxy, stained, built of metal and real wood. The kind of thing truckers used to keep on their dashboards. The price tag read $5. I picked it up. It was heavier than expected for something its size. Solid, tangible. There was a faint smell coming from it, like old leather mixed with something faintly metallic. I ran my thumb across the tuning dial. It felt warm. A man running the sale glanced at me and said, "That belonged to her husband. She kept it by her bed for decades." "Does it still work?" I asked. He shrugged. "It shouldn't. There's no power cord." He was right. On the back panel where the cord should have fed into the radio casing, there was only a dark hole. No battery compartment either. Yet when I pressed my ear to it, I could have sworn I heard a faint whispering. Not static, whispering. Soft, indistinct, like someone trying to speak through a wall. I bought it without another question. The radio didn't make a sound until the first night. I placed it on my bedside table, partly because I had nowhere else to put it, partly because part of me wanted to see what it would do. I'd always been a collector of strange things: knives, lighters, maps, and old tech from yard sales. But that night, around 2:40 a.m., I woke up to the radio crackling. Not loud, just enough. Shh, 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 shh. I sat up. The room was cold, the kind of cold you feel in your teeth. For a second, I wondered if I dreamed it. But then the static deepened, shifting in tone like someone clearing their throat on the other end. I leaned forward. The static began to shape itself. Not entirely words, but almost. L. My. My bedroom felt smaller, the air thicker. I turned the tuning dial. The static hissed sharply, and then a voice. A whisper so close it could have been behind my ear. "Don't look at me." I jerked back and fell off the edge of the bed. My heart slammed against my ribs so hard it physically hurt. I scrambled upright, staring at the radio. Silence. Silent and innocently dead. I waited. 10 seconds. 30. 1 minute. Nothing. "Okay," I whispered to myself. But I wasn't. Something in me knew that voice was real. The radio didn't make another sound until the next night. This time at exactly 3:15. The moment I opened my eyes, I realized the room was wrong. The shadows looked thicker, deeper, less like darkness and more like something moving just out of sight. The radio sat on the table where I'd left it, but something about the angle felt different, like it had turned slightly toward me. The static started slow, like someone dragging a fingernail across fabric. K-k-k. Shh, shh, shh. Then the whispering began again. Breathy, close. Not a voice, several. Layered over each other, like recordings played at the same time. Help. No, he's... Don't. Run. It hurts. I clamped my hands over my ears, but it didn't matter. The voices slid under my palms, through the cracks of my fingers, straight into my head. Then, everything went silent, all at once. One quiet breath later, a single, clear voice, calm, emotionless, came through the speaker. You're next. I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. By morning, I'd convinced myself to throw the radio out. I wrapped it in a trash bag, walked it to the dumpster behind my building, and tossed it in. I didn't look back. But that night, it came back. I woke up to the sound of something heavy thudding onto the hardwood floor. Thud. 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 I flicked on my bedside lamp and froze. The radio was sitting upright, 3 feet from my bed, like someone had placed it there. The trash bag was gone. The dust from the dumpster wasn't on it. It looked cleaner than before. My breath got stuck in my throat. My hands tingled. My mouth went dry enough to crack. No, no, no! I grabbed it, ran outside barefoot, and hurled it into the street. It hit the asphalt hard enough to dent the casing. Then I went inside, locked the door, deadbolted the bottom lock and the chain. 30 seconds later, click. The chain lock slid open on its own. My heart stopped. Then the bottom deadbolt unlocked. Then the door eased open 2 inches and something slid inside. Something small. Something rectangular. Something that bumped gently into my foot. I looked down. The radio. Facing upward. The speaker aimed directly at me. And then, softly, with a static breath like someone leaning too close to a microphone, I need you to listen. I should have run, should have burned the thing, should have called someone, anyone. But fear does something strange to the mind. It bends logic. It traps you in the moment so deeply you can't think beyond it. I stared at the radio and whispered, "What do you want?" The static pulsed. Once. Twice. Then a voice, a man's, came through. Deep. Shaking. It got me," the voice rasped. "It's watching you. Now." My head snapped toward the window, toward the hallway, toward every shadow in the room. "What is?" Silence. The voice continued, strained with terror. "It takes us, one by one. It feeds on the moment you die. It plays it back. It makes you hear it, over and over. And now," a wet, choking gasp filled the speaker. Then, "Now, it knows you." My skin turned to ice. "Who are you?" I whispered. A crackle, a wet cough. Then, "You don't know me yet, but you'll hear my last words tomorrow." I felt my entire body go numb. Tomorrow? What happens tomorrow? Silence. Then a new sound. Not a voice. Breathing. Slow. Heavy. Wrong. Not human, not animal. Something that didn't understand how lungs were supposed to work. And then a whisper, layered beneath the breathing. Turn around. I didn't. I stared straight at the radio. Its speaker crackled with a smile I could hear. It's right behind you. I didn't turn around. Not because I was brave. Nothing about what I felt resembled courage. It was paralysis. A cold, suffocating paralysis that crawled up my spine and locked my muscles in place. My lungs barely moved. My heartbeat stuttered, trying to decide whether to stop completely or sprint until it burst. Behind me, something breathed. Slow. Dragged. Wet. Like someone learning how to mimic a human breath but failing at the timing. A shiver rolled across my skin so violently my teeth chattered. I stared at the radio, eyes wide, throat so tight I couldn't swallow. The radio whispered, again, playful this time. Why aren't you looking? I didn't answer. I couldn't. A moment passed, maybe 1 second, maybe 10, and the thing behind me exhaled. The air that hit the back of my neck was colder than the night outside. My knees buckled. I grabbed the edge of the nightstand to stop myself from collapsing. Then, suddenly, as if someone flipped a switch, the breathing stopped. The room fell silent. For a moment, I wondered if I had hallucinated it. Maybe the fear had broken something in me. Maybe nothing had been there at all. But then the radio spoke again, softly. It left. I still didn't turn. My voice was barely air. What was it? Static crawled up the speaker like something sharp dragging across metal. You don't want to know yet, the radio whispered. I hated that word, yet. It implied inevitability. It implied I had no way out. My legs finally obeyed me. I backed away from the radio slowly, never turning my back fully, stepping until I reached the far corner of the bedroom. The shadows there felt less predatory somehow, though I had no real reason to think so. My voice broke. Why me? The radio responded instantly. Because you heard it. What does that mean? Most people write it off. A creak in the floor, a whisper of wind, a voice they think they imagined, a pause. But you listened. I sank to the floor, covering my face with my hands. I didn't want to hear it. It doesn't matter, the radio murmured. A door is open now. The word door hit me like a physical blow. What kind of door? I whispered. The radio clicked. Something inside it shifted, grinding like old gears turning after years of rust. One way. A cold wave washed down my body. A one-way door. A door that only opened towards me, not away. That meant whatever was behind it was already inside. The first morning after. When the sun finally rose, I realized I had been awake all night, not a single second of sleep. I didn't dare look away from the radio, didn't dare blink for too long. Every time my eyelids grew heavy, the memory of that cold breath on my neck jolted me awake again. By morning, I felt hollowed out. I showered with the curtain open. I kept every light in the apartment on. I turned the radio to face the wall, but the moment I did, the floor behind me creaked. I flipped it back towards me. The creaking stopped. I couldn't stay home. Every corner felt like it was hiding something. Every shadow pulsed like a heartbeat. I grabbed my coat and rushed out the door, leaving the radio behind. Or so I thought. The elevator ride down to the lobby felt like it took hours. The metallic hum rattled in my bones. When the door slid open and I stepped out, the lobby radio was on. It wasn't supposed to be on. The front desk attendant always unplugged it at night, and no one ever turned it on in the morning. Yet there it was. Static, soft, rhythmic. And then, my heart nearly stopped. The static shifted into a whisper. "Why did you leave me upstairs?" I spun around so fast I nearly tripped. The desk attendant, Carol, looked up from her crossword puzzle. "You okay?" I froze. She hadn't heard the voice. Only I had. The radio on the desk crackled softly, as if laughing. I backed away from it. I forgot something. I need to go back up." Carol shrugged and returned to her crossword. I ran back to the elevator, slapped the button. The doors closed. I counted the seconds until they reopened on the 8th floor. When I stepped out, my front door was open, wide open, like someone was expecting me. My stomach twisted. I approached slowly, every step measured. The hallway light flickered once. Inside the apartment, on the dining table, sat the radio, waiting, facing me. It spoke the moment my foot crossed the threshold. "Don't leave again." The nightly broadcasts began. The second night was worse. Much worse. At 3 a.m. on the dot, the radio turned itself on. I didn't wake this time. The sound dragged me up from whatever shallow sleep I had collapsed into. A man's voice was already mid-scream. Not a distant scream, not an echo. A scream happening right there, as if the man was 2 feet from me and dying in real time. The scream tore through the speaker, ragged and violent. Then it cut off. Silence. Then breathing. Shaky. Desperate. "He's coming. He's coming. Please, please. Oh God, he sees me." I bolted upright in bed. Who sees you?" I whispered to the radio. A crash exploded through the speaker, like a door being kicked in. The man sobbed. "Don't make me relive this." Static swallowed his voice. The room went cold. I grabbed the radio with both hands. "Tell me what's happening." A whisper slid through the static. "You're listening to his final words." My blood froze. Is he going to die? The radio hummed low, almost pleased. He already did. The air vanished from my lungs. Then why am I hearing it? The reply came with an undertone that felt like a smile. "Because you're next in the sequence." My shaking hands nearly dropped the radio. "What sequence?" A click echoed inside the radio, like a tape recorder starting to spool. Then a new voice, this time a woman's, spoke softly. "Do you remember me?" I didn't. I would have remembered a voice like that. It dripped with exhaustion and something else, grief maybe, or resignation. "Who are you?" The woman exhaled into the speaker. The sound was hollow, like she was speaking from the bottom of a well. I tried to warn her. I told her not to keep the radio near her bed. My skin prickled. Who? The woman who owned it before me? Silence. Then, she didn't listen either. I swallowed hard. What happened to her? The answer came slowly, as if the woman hated saying the words. She died speaking to it. My throat tightened. How? No answer. The radio clicked off. Just like that. Like it was bored with me. I sat awake until sunrise, afraid to close my eyes, afraid to breathe too loudly, afraid the thing breathing behind me might return. The body in the audio. By the fourth night, I noticed a pattern. Every night, at the same hour, the radio broadcasted someone's death. Not metaphorically. I could hear it, the fear, the pain, the moment life left their body. And every night, the voices grew more aware. They started speaking to me. Not all of them. Some were too lost in their own final moments to notice anything outside it, but others knew I was listening. Some begged. Some warned. Some whispered things that made my stomach twist so hard I nearly vomited. The worst was when a voice, low, male, shaking, whispered, "It's not recording us. We're not past. We're not dead."
I froze. What do you mean? A sob slipped through the speaker. We're happening now. The blood in my veins turned to ice. The scream that followed didn't sound like a recording at all. It sounded alive, real, present. And then, I will never forget it, the man said, through choking breaths, "I see it. It's wearing your face." My heart nearly stopped. What do you mean, my face?" I stammered. A crunching noise erupted from the speaker, wet, sharp, bones snapping. Then, "It's standing behind you, wearing your skin." A cold wind blew across the room. I didn't turn around. I couldn't. The radio whispered, "Why won't you look? The apartment isn't safe anymore." By the end of the first week, I knew staying in the apartment was suicide. The air felt wrong, thick, unbreathable. Shadows clung to the corners like mold. The hallway lights flickered every time I approached, and no matter where I placed the radio, on the shelf, on the counter, in the closet, it always ended up exactly where I would see it the moment I walked into a room, facing me, waiting. One night I tried turning every light in the apartment on at once. The bulbs burst, all of them, simultaneously. Glass rained down like sharp rain. I screamed and covered my face, falling backward over a chair. When I looked up, the apartment was pitch black, except for a faint glow from the radio. Not normal glow. It pulsed, like a heartbeat. I crawled across the floor, gripping the carpet, and yanked the front door open. I ran, down the stairs, out into the street, barefoot again, chest hammering, breath raw. I didn't care where I was going. I just needed distance. But when I reached the end of the block, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "You forgot me." My stomach dropped. I didn't want to look, but my hands moved before I could stop them. Another text arrived, this time with a photo of my living room, taken seconds ago. The radio sat on the floor in the center of the room, facing the door, facing the camera. Then a third text arrived. "Come back. It's about to start." I stared at the screen, trembling so hard the phone nearly slipped from my hand. I typed back with shaking fingers. "What's about to start?" The reply came instantly. "Your broadcast. The entity makes contact." I returned home, not because I wanted to, because something inside me understood that running wasn't an option anymore. Distance didn't matter. The radio wasn't confined to space. It followed rules older than physics, older than death. When I opened the apartment door, the radio was waiting by the threshold. The moment I stepped inside, it turned on. No static, no distortion, clear. Sharp. Real. A voice I recognized. My voice. Please, please, God, don't. My stomach twisted violently, my vision blurred. The radio was playing my voice. My final words. Stop, please. Someone help. I dropped to my knees. No, I'm not dead. I'm not dead. This hasn't happened. The scream that erupted from the speaker was so raw, so agonized, so undeniably mine that I slapped my hands over my ears. Stop! The radio obeyed instantly. Silence fell. Then softly, you asked what happens tomorrow. I stared at it through tears. The voice speaking wasn't mine anymore. It was something else, something deeper, something ancient. It filled the room like a presence, vibrating through the walls, through my spine. Tomorrow, the radio whispered, you die. My breath hitched. No. Yes. Why? The radio chuckled. Because the door opened. What door? Silence. Then, almost lovingly, the one behind you. I froze. Didn't breathe. Didn't blink. The radio whispered, it's watching you.
The motel room felt dead long before Ethan stepped inside. A stench of rusted metal, dust, and something that could have been rotting wood or rotting memory sat thick in the stale air. The desk lamp flickered with the same rhythm as the static that never seemed to leave the battered handheld radio he carried. He had driven 6 hours straight without stopping, without thinking, without breathing properly. The radio guided him. It always guided him. Now in this nowhere town with 2 street lights and a gas station that looked abandoned even when open, Ethan locked the motel door and placed the radio on the small table beside the bed. Its speaker crackled violently, as if it sensed danger before he could. "All right," he whispered to no one. "Tell me what I need to know." The radio didn't respond with a voice. It responded with a scream. A long, wet, distorted scream. One he recognized instantly. His own. But the scream wasn't the part that broke him. It was the timestamp spoken immediately afterward. Broadcast, 3:12 a.m. Tonight. His death. Scheduled like a showtime. He staggered back, knocking over a chair. His heart drummed like someone pounding on his ribs from the inside. The static simmered again, then deepened into a warbling void tone he hadn't heard before. Then, a voice whispered through the thick digital muck, "Ethan, don't run. Running makes it hurt more." The voice wasn't demonic. It was worse. It was identical to his father's. The man who had died 10 years ago. The man who used to sit in his basement late at night, tuning that same radio. The man Ethan found dead in front of it, eyes open, mouth open, frozen in a silent scream. "No, no, 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 don't do this to me." The radio crackled gently, almost lovingly. "I'm so proud of you, son. You finally listened." The door at 3:12 a.m. Ethan piled the motel furniture against the door. Table, chair, broken nightstand. His hands trembled the entire time. The digital clock on the nightstand blinked uselessly, half dead. Just 2 glowing red numbers flickering, 3 and 12, over and over like a countdown glitching on repeat. He kept checking the radio, and each time he looked, it looked back at him. He could swear the speaker grill wasn't shaped like that earlier. No curve resembling a grin, no dents like eye sockets. But now, it had both. "Stop," he muttered to himself, pacing. "You're panicking, you're hallucinating. It's just metal, just circuits, just..." A heavy thump hit the motel door. He froze. The furniture rattled. Another thump. Slow, rhythmic, like something knocking with its forehead. Ethan backed away, heart tearing itself apart in his chest. He grabbed the radio, intending to throw it at the wall. But the moment he touched it, the motel lights died. A single whisper bled from the speaker. "You can't stop the broadcast." The visitor. The knocking stopped. Silence. Silence so deep it felt like the world had been emptied of all sound except Ethan's breathing. Then came the scraping. Something dragging its nails or claws across the outside of the door frame. Slow. Testing. Curious. Ethan lifted the radio like a shield. "Who's out there?" Static fizzed. Then the radio replayed his own voice. "Me." The door hinges squealed. Not like something forcing its way in, but like something gently pushing. The furniture slid aside on its own. The door creaked open, and Ethan saw a silhouette. A tall, thin figure, hunched unnaturally backward, long arms dangling like broken branches. Its head twitched in tiny, unnatural movements, as if sniffing the air with motions stolen from an animal. It stepped inside. The room temperature plunged. Frost crawled across the window glass. Ethan tried to scream, but choked on the sound. The figure took one jerking step closer, then another. On its third step, lightning flashed outside the window, and Ethan saw its face, or what should have been a face. It was smooth, blank, except for a single round hole where a mouth might be. From the hole came sound, not breathing, not whispering, static, radio static. Ethan dropped to the floor, covering his ears. The creature advanced with slow, precise movements, like a marionette controlled by an invisible puppeteer. Each step brought the static louder, shriller, more invasive, like it wasn't just sound, but something physical drilling into his skull. Ethan crawled backward until his spine hit the bed frame. The creature leaned down, its whole mouth inches from his face. The radio in his hand glowed red. 3:12 a.m., the static creature said in Ethan's voice. "Time for your final broadcast." What the radio really does. The creature grabbed Ethan's head with long, spindly fingers. Cold, dry, wrong. Images flashed inside his mind, memories not his own, screams of people he'd never met, distorted silhouettes trapped inside radio waves, people who had listened, just like him. They weren't dead, they were trapped, broadcast forever. The creature spoke again, this time with his father's voice. "I tried to warn you, but warnings are just invitations in disguise." Ethan screamed, kicking free, scrambling on all fours toward the bathroom. He slammed the door shut and locked it. His breath ripped in and out in tiny, broken pieces. Outside, the creature dragged its palms slowly across the bathroom door, a long, hollow scraping. The radio spoke again, but the voice was different. Higher pitch, glitching, spiraling, like multiple voices overlapping. "You can't hide. Hiding just makes them find you slower." Ethan shoved towels against the bottom of the door, as if that could stop whatever was happening. He stared into the bathroom mirror, face pale, eyes wide, sweat pouring like water. Behind him, in the reflection, the static creature stood inches away. He spun around. Nothing there. He looked back into the mirror. It was closer. Its head slowly turned toward him, bones cracking like dry twigs. Ethan stepped backward until he hit the shower curtain.
His hand brushed something cold beneath it. He pulled the curtain aside. There was a body in the bathtub. He stumbled back. It took him a moment to understand. It was him. Pale, eyes open, face frozen in a scream. 3:12 a.m. carved in the chest. The radio on the sink whispered, now airing Ethan Carter's final words. The bathroom door burst open. The creature lunged, its mouth hole expanded, too wide, stretching flesh like rubber, opening into a swirling tunnel of static and darkness. Hundreds of faint, distant screams echoed from inside it. The radio glowed brighter, vibrating violently. Ethan fought, pushing, kicking, screaming, but the creature held him effortlessly. Its arms wrapped around him like cold wires, pulling him toward the widening void. He tried to look away, but he heard something inside the void. Not screams, words. His own voice looping. I shouldn't have turned it on. The static swallowed him whole. His vision dissolved. His thoughts dissolved. His identity dissolved. Everything became noise. For a long moment, or forever, there was nothing but the void. Then, the motel room appeared again. Empty. Silent. The radio sat on the nightstand, perfectly still. Then it crackled alive. Now broadcasting Ethan Carter's final words. A familiar scream filled the speaker. His scream. Then the radio clicked to a soft hum, waiting for its next listener.